Hey everyone, excited to be back to this week's edition of Frequently Asked Questions for Commercial Real Estate. In today's video, what I want to do is talk about a strategy that I often utilize as I'm representing landlords to identify tenants for their space. And as someone who is actively looking to invest in commercial real estate, it's a strategy that I'm utilizing to try to backfill properties that we can ultimately potentially acquire and hold as investment property. And that is, what exactly is canvassing and how do you implement it into your day-to-day business? Now, before we dive into this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you can like and subscribe to this channel. It really does help with the YouTube algorithm and ensures more and more people can hear this message and learn about the many facets of commercial real estate. So now you've done that, go ahead and like and subscribe below. Let's go ahead and dive right into this episode. All right, so to start off, let's define exactly what canvassing means. What canvassing is physically going into locations and having conversations with prospects about potentially occupying a space for their business. Now, I operate heavily in the retail space, so I'm going to use that as the lens to be able to share my insights with you. But this can be applied to office space. This can be applied to industrial as well, walking into industrial buildings and having conversations with owners about potentially relocating to a new location. So you can apply this to any different property type, but I'm going to go ahead and use it from the real retail lens just because that's what I have the most experience with. So to start off, what I typically do is if I have a property that I am working with, so let's say it's a 3,000 square foot space in a multi-tenant center that I'm looking to backfill with a potential tenant. So what I'll do is I'll sit down and think, what type of uses would typically occupy 3,000 square feet? So you go down a list of potential users. Maybe it's a full service restaurant. Maybe it's a nail salon. Maybe it's a small grocer, international grocery store. Again, you start thinking about different ideas of potential users that could occupy that space. Medical has become very popular as well, different types of medical users. So again, this is the brainstorming session where you sit down and say, okay, let's list out the different types of businesses that could potentially occupy the space. You would then go online and try to identify businesses that fit that criteria. Typically, I'll try to find businesses that have at least one location because they may be interested in either relocating from that location or maybe even better, expanding to a second location. Because again, the proof of concept has already been established. They've already been in business for quite some time, and now they're going to potentially be occupying a new space. That's the problem. They have a higher probability of being successful in that space as well. So I'll usually go down the list and try to create a list of potentially 50 or so tenants that we could potentially target. So once we have that list of potential tenants, and again, this is all done through Google. You can even use ChatGPT nowadays, especially with the integration with Bing, to be able to pull up a list like this as well. Something to consider in that regard. But once I have that list, I will create a flyer that details all the characteristics of that property. So typically, I'll have a professional photographer and videographer go into the space, provide some floor plans, whatever else, and I'll create a really high quality and vibrant flyer that highlights the characteristics of that space and typically has a call to action on the front that would be of value to the tenant. So once I have that flyer ready to go, you have to get out on the street and start going into different locations. So I'll typically take these flyers and walk into the stores. And typically when I approach the counter, I say something along the lines of, hello, how's it going? My name is Raphael. I'm a commercial real estate agent in town. I'm actually representing the owner of XYZ property at this location. I noticed that you guys have been in business for some time, and I just wanted to stop in to see if you guys had any interest of either relocating or maybe even expanding your business. And typically, if I'm talking to someone who is not the owner, they'll say, oh, well, the owner's not in, or maybe they'll say, oh, the owner's in the back. And I'll say, oh, do you mind if I have a conversation with the owner, manager, whoever that is, to try to get closer to the decision maker? And typically they'll accommodate that request and you have a conversation with the appropriate party. But if for whatever reason the owner is not physically there, you say, okay, well, I'll leave the flyer here. Here's a copy of my business card. Do you happen to have their information so I can follow up with them at some point in the near future? And sometimes they'll provide it, sometimes they won't, but that's the approach that I take when it comes to physically stopping into different places. And so again, you do this on a regular basis. Typically, I have a cadence of trying to do at least once a week. I'll go out, block out a few hours of time to be able to physically go to places and have conversations with people. And you'll be surprised with the amount of traction you actually receive from doing this. In particular, if you're someone who dresses professional, makes a good impression, it can really make a difference in your ability to try to identify tenants for a particular space. So that's just kind of the basics of canvassing. Obviously, in the case where I do identify individuals that could be a good fit or businesses that I could be a good fit, I continually follow up. So again, once I ask those individuals for who to follow up with, I will follow up on a pretty regular cadence until I get a yay or nay regarding their interest. And then again, we'll try to set up showings over time. And if you continue this cadence of going into businesses, getting access to the decision maker, if you don't get access right away, trying to get their contact information so you can follow up, and you do this over a period of time, you will have success in identifying tenants for that space. And in the case of, if you're looking to buy a building, for example, this is a great strategy to be able to employ, where you say, okay, this is a great building. I really like the area. There's a lot of characteristics that I do enjoy about the property. You put it under contract and you work on trying to backfill that space before closing. It can be a very effective way, especially if you're very aggressive getting out there and having conversations with potential tenants, because if it is a good location and it's a good price point and you can make it work as far as construction is concerned, it could very well work out as an investment opportunity. So hope you gained some value from this video. If you guys want to implement a canvassing strategy within your business, I highly encourage you guys to block out time to do so. You know, it doesn't get done if you don't block it on your calendar. So if you can, try to block out a few hours during the week to be able to get out there and have conversations with people. Along with that, if you guys like this channel, please like and subscribe. It makes a big impact on our ability to reach a broader audience, and we'd greatly appreciate the support. And finally, if you guys are looking for commercial property here in the Louisville metro area, I'm a commercial real estate agent in town. I'd be happy to help you with your search. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or lease commercial property, feel free to give me a call at 502-536-7315, or you can reach me via email at Raphael@grisantigroup.com. Thanks again so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.